Now, being admitted to the practice of medicine, I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the services of humanity. The health and life of my patients will be my first consideration. My colleagues will be my brothers. I will not permit consideration of race, religion, nationality, or social standing to intervene between my duty and my patients. Whatever I shall see or hear of the lives of men which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. I will give no deadly medicine to anyone if asked, nor suggest any such counsel. Even under threat, I will not use my knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. These promises I make freely and upon my honor.
Yes, sir. Just come to the admitting desk on the main floor. You're welcome, Mr. Warwick. Three Counties Hospital.
Well, Dr. Coleman, did you have a good trip?
Yes, I did.
You remember Dr. O'Donnell, our chief of surgery?
Glad to see you here, Dr. Coleman. We need you here.
Well, thank you.
Well, you really meant it when you said you'd be here this week, didn't you?
There didn't seem much point in waiting. I got a fairly good impression of the situation on my visit here last month. I am anxious to see the lab in operation, though, and to see Dr. Pearson again, of course.
Hold all calls for a while, will you? Oh. All right. Husband of a patient. Administrator speaking. Well, I'm sorry, sir. I'll have the treasurer go over your bill. Goodbye, sir.
Don't people know that this hospital doesn't make a profit?
It's not quite that this time. He claims his wife was kept in a week too long, waiting for a pathology report. Now he's got to go into debt to pay his bill. Now, you'll want to see the rest of the place.
You may as well know, Harry. Surgical reports from pathology are sometimes pretty late getting back, and there are times when we hesitate to discharge patients without the final lab results because those reports may affect the sort of regimen the patient is placed on at home.
And with bed space as valuable as it is.
I see. Well, I imagine that's one of the reasons I'm here.
Let's go.
You interested in seeing the innards of the beast?
Regardless of what you may have heard, Dr. Coleman, Dr. Pearson, who's been in charge of pathology here for over 25 years, is a good man. He's done a great deal for this hospital. You should have heard the wolves howling when he set up a blood bank, established a tissue committee. But this year, we'll do 3 times as many tests as we did 5 years ago. We did some investigative research, too, on the cause and incidence of thyroid cancer. Most of it's generally accepted now, but few people remember that it came from Joe Pearson. Wow, we took the shortcut with the hot one, didn't we?
Tomaselli, are you telling me to go slow? Take it easy on Dr. Pearson?
I didn't realize it came out like that, but I think in a sense I am, yeah. Right this way, ladies. Everybody gets a front seat today.
No hurry, ladies, no hurry. The star of the show is not going anywhere. Now, let's see. Which one of you is going to faint first?
Ah, this is a new class of nurses, I believe. I'll explain that my name is Pearson, pathologist at this hospital. It's Dr. Howard, who's a resident, and Dr. Shawcross, who is in his 4th year. Am I right?
Quite right, Doctor.
4th year of surgical residency. And who will shortly be released upon an unsuspecting public. You often hear people ask, what does a pathologist do? Never hear anyone ask, what does a surgeon do? Perhaps because we all know what surgeons do. Well, a pathologist is the one who examines a surgeon's mistakes when it's too late. He's the doctor the patient seldom sees and doesn't want to. Yet few departments in a hospital have more effect on a patient's welfare. It is pathology which advises the patient's physician on disease. Sometimes when all else in medicine fails, it's the pathologist who makes the final diagnosis. Well, that's a neat little abdominal scar, eh? Some surgeon realized a pretty profit on that one day. Thank you.
Mr. Tomaselli? Oh, Mr. Tomaselli, could I see you for a moment?
Just go down the hall and turn left at pathology. I'll be right along.
I draw your attention, young ladies, to some words you'll find on the wall of many autopsy rooms. Mortui vivos docent. The dead teach the living. Now, the medical history of this man shows that 3 years ago he suffered from a first coronary attack and then a second attack earlier this week. This man apparently died of coronary thrombosis. But by examining the coronary arteries, we can discover whether this is true. We'll make transfers second.
I beg your pardon.
Notice how brittle.
Pathologists are ghouls.
I agree with you.
Who are you?
I'm a pathologist.
Oh, no.
Your first autopsy?
My last, I hope.
Well, as with most things in medicine, the first one is always the worst one. Go back in.
What?
Go back in there.
I intend to. But not because you order me to.
Now that we have established that in this specific case, the medical diagnosis was correct, we move to the cranial area. I hold in my hand a human brain. Yet what do you see? Only a mass of tissue. Only a few hours ago, this was the thinking center of a human being. A human being. Not only the thinking center, but the coordinator of the senses. Touch, smell, sight, taste. It held thoughts, hopes, dreams, memories. Told the eyes to cry, the mouth to speak. This man was an engineer. This then was a brain that used mathematics, understood stresses, devised constructions, perhaps built houses or highways or dams, a cathedral. Legacies from this brain to other human beings, to you and me. Starting out in your medical careers, young ladies, it's just as well for you to think about these things once in a while. Because in this big impersonal machine around us here, this thing we call a hospital, it has one function and only one, to serve people. This human being, male, white, age 53, was a person, a human being.
I see you found your way.
A few minutes now, young ladies, you'll be free to go and forget everything I've said. Just as your predecessors have done for the past 25 years.
We'll go this way. Dr. Pearson's entertaining some student nurses again.
It's not what I say. But when Dr. Pearson sees those, he's going to pick you up and throw you... Well, that's fine, fine. Just leave those reports, please. Good morning, Mr. Tomaselli.
Bannister, this is Dr. Coleman. Bannister, senior lab technologist. Been here almost as long as Dr. Pearson.
Longer than Dr. Pearson. How do you do, Dr. Coleman? We've been expecting you. Have you? Oh, here, sit down, sit down. This gets to be a terrible mess sometimes when we're busy. Of course, we're almost always busy.
But you young ladies are to be congratulated. On the day when no student faints, I begin to have some hope for medicine. Thank you. Try some bicarbonate of soda. And make sure you go out on a date tonight. Nothing like living. Forget dying.
Goodbye, girls. Have a nice lunch.
Have a nice lunch. I may never eat again.
The eternal problem of any hospital, of course, is the limitation of funds. Oh, there you are, Joe. You remember,
Yeah, I remember. You look younger than you did last month. Bannister, we'll have to find something for this young fella to do now that he's here. Your qualifications are good, young fella. On paper, hope he can live up to them. Get him a lab coat, Bannister, and show him around. Oh, don't let him see the calcium oxide you keep hidden away for your garden. I'm late for a mortality review committee. Just make yourself at home.
Oh, it's downright upsetting to get taken by 11 strokes by your own wife.
I have only one rule for a happy married man. Never play golf with your wife.
Sorry. Golf again, Doctor. I'm sorry, everybody. I had an autopsy. Impatient patient. Nowhere to go, but he couldn't wait to get there. You know, it used to be golf was something a doctor prescribed for his patients. Now an ordinary layman can't get near the first tee without pushing the doctors into the sand trap.
First case.
Algernon Forbes, male, white, 58. Dr. Rufus.
The patient was referred to me on February 10th with a suspected perforated ulcer. He had severe upper abdominal pain and was in shock. Blood pressure was 70/40. He was ashen gray and was in a cold sweat. The abdomen was rigid and there was rebound tenderness. I ordered a transfusion to combat shock and also morphine.
No chest film, Dr. Rufus?
It was my opinion that the patient was too sick to go to X-ray. I agreed with the referring doctor's diagnosis of the perforated ulcer.
No doubts at all, eh, Doctor?
One always has doubts, Dr. Pearson. But I decided all the symptoms justified exploratory surgery. However, there was no perforated ulcer. I called Dr. Toynbee for consultation, but before he arrived, the patient died.
Dr. Pearson, now is the time for the autopsy findings.
No perforated ulcer, abdomen entirely normal. What was causing the severe pleuritic pain was early development of pneumonia, which could have been discovered by chest X-ray.
It's very easy to have hindsight, as Dr. Pearson loses no chance to remind us.
I don't think Dr. Pearson intended...
Any man can make a mistake in medicine. But having been made, that mistake should serve as a warning to others who can't see beyond the area of their own surgical specialty.
If Dr. Pearson were as conscientious about his own department as he is about what goes on the upper floors here, perhaps we'd all get our surgical reports from pathology in time.
Here. Gentlemen, I have repeatedly requested more help. My department is snowed under. I asked for technicians. Technicians. Instead, the staff of this hospital...
Joe.
The staff of this hospital decided a new pathologist was needed to assist me. You now have that man on staff, and I have no doubts that you will now have your surgical reports on time. But as long as I am head pathologist here, when I attend the mortality review committee, I intend to call the shots as I see them. And when the time comes when I do not attend this committee, it'll be because I am no longer a member of this staff.
Oh, Joe, you're taking all this more seriously.
And if I am not a member, it'll be because I've been kicked out. Because I'll have to be kicked out since I have no intention of resigning. Not until they roll me down to my own morgue feet first. Since there are no more surgical errors to be discussed, I'm sure you'll excuse me. Good morning, gentlemen. And lady.
Joe.
Yeah, I know. Patience, you hot-headed idiot.
Charlie, I got no place to go. My lab's been invaded.
Invaded. You're acting downright senile.
Listen, the best is I wish Ann could see you. She wouldn't be proud, Joe.
If Ann were alive, she wouldn't be proud.
Must be we're both getting old.
Speak for yourself, you old coot.
The both of us.
Hey, Charlie, you need a haircut.
No, I didn't.
Doctor, this is Mrs. Alexander.
What? Oh, Miss Alec, yes, come right in. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. But sometimes these things take longer in a hospital than we anticipate. I guess you know all about that. Your husband's interning with us, they tell me.
Thank you, Dr. Alexander.
So if you say I'm perfectly healthy, then there's nothing to worry about, is there?
Nothing whatever. In fact, you strike me as one of those rare young women who can deliver her own child under a tree. And then plow 10 acres in the afternoon. By the way, what did your first child die of?
Bronchitis. When she was a month old.
Well, then I guess this child is doubly important to you, huh?
Yes, very important. Why? Is there something you haven't told me?
Oh, no, there's absolutely no cause for alarm. Here. Take that to the outpatient's lab. I'm sure your husband or the doctor who made that first blood test on you some months ago, he must have told you that even as a blood sensitization test does reveal antibodies in your blood, that only one child in 26 ever develops erythroblastosis. And even if that happens, we can be prepared when we know there's a possibility. All that depends on the new blood test, of course. In the end, Mrs. Alexander, you're going to have a normal, healthy baby.
Dr. Dornberger, you're wonderful.
I didn't have anything to do with it.
Dr. Lawrence, emergency. Dr. Lawrence, emergency.
Not here.
What took so long? They haven't even taken a blood sample yet.
Alex, Dr. Dornberger is the greatest doctor in the world.
Oh, yeah?
Next to you, of course.
Next to me, of course. Oh, I don't go on duty until 2 o'clock, sir.
Something you young people will never learn. One thing leads to another. You start by stealing a kiss in a hallway, pretty soon you'll be having a baby.
This way, Mrs. Alexander.
Thank you, Doctor.
Come in, come in. Nobody stands on ceremony around here.
Dr. Pearson.
And civilization is strangling itself in red tape.
Dr. Pearson, I've been here exactly 3 hours and 15 minutes.
If you want a coffee break, take it.
Is it your idea to have me sit around here all day doing nothing till you can decide what my duties are to be?
Well, it's a hard matter to find time. You're a fire reader, aren't you?
I'd assumed at the very least there'd be an office ready for me, a few clearly defined duties.
Yes, sir. Fire reader. Well, I picked you for one. Good. You want to work? There's plenty of work to be done. But I'm a scientist, not an administrator. You'll find work. Water finds its own level. Meantime, though, why don't you take over the autopsy room? See things in there running according to Dr. Aloysius Q. Hoyle.
I've always had a great interest and a good deal of experience in serology. I've been looking over the serology lab and...
Serology? Well, why not? Hereafter, you are in charge of serology. Anything else?
Not right now. Thank you, Dr. Pearson.
You ready for the gross cut?
No, I'm not ready. Look at this desk. I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
She was not only a nurse, she was a minister's daughter.
Yeah.
The odds were all on my side.
Put out that cigarette, please.
Oh, good morning, Dr. Coleman. I didn't see you there.
There'll be no smoking in the autopsy room, Dr. Shawcross.
Oh. Oh, yes.
Not there. Dr. Howard, will you drape the face? With a clean towel. Gentlemen, I think there's something I should remind you of. When we perform an autopsy, we do so with permission of the family of the one who has died. Our objective is to advance medical learning. The family gives us the body in trust and expects it to be treated with care, respect, and dignity. And that's how it will be treated. Thank you, gentlemen. Carry on, please.
We appear to have been skillfully taken apart.
Oh, we sure have.
Pardon me, my name is Alexander. Dr. Alexander. I'm interning upstairs.
Yes, Doctor.
Well, it's about my wife. You see, we just arrived here. She's Dr. Dornberger's patient. We're expecting a baby in a month and a half.
Well, congratulations, Doctor.
Well, she was supposed to have a blood sensitization test today. I wondered whether you had any results on it yet.
Yeah, we probably won't even get the sample till this afternoon. Even if we do, we're so
Well,
busy.
this is very important. You see, she's RH negative and I'm RH positive. How long does it take to make the 3 tests?
Not long. 2 tests, not 3.
2 tests?
Yes, saline and high protein. Now, if you don't mind...
Don't most labs now make an indirect Coombs, too?
An indirect what?
You don't even know what it is?
Look, maybe you better come back and see Dr. Pearson. Perhaps he'll be able...
I don't know much about serology, but I've studied up because of this, and it's been proven that some of the antibodies in the blood of pregnant women can get past both the saline test and the high-protein test. Only the indirect Coombs
Look
can
here,
possibly...
Doctor, you're way off limits here. I have not got time to sit around here all day.
Listen, mister, you're going to make time. This is my wife, and that baby is very important to us.
Dr. Alexander, I'm Dr. Coleman, assistant pathologist here.
Well, certainly you must realize what...
I know that you'll have the results of the test tomorrow afternoon through your wife's physician. Now, if you're on duty upstairs, I suggest you go back to it.
All right, but I'll tell you one thing. My wife is going to get every test available.
Is there anything more ridiculous than an expected father?
Yes, a serology lab without Coombs serum.
What?
An indirect Coombs for blood sensitization is elementary today, basic. Let's get some here in time for Alexander's wife.
Well, we can't just go out and buy it like it was aspirin. You have to have a purchase requisition.
Well, let me have one of the forms.
Dr. Pearson always orders the lab supplies himself.
I intend to have more authority here than ordering $15 worth of rabbit serum.
Well, when you get to be my age, the best part of any day is the end of it.
Are you going to leave this like this?
Overnight, you mean? Now, the only company we ever get down here are all locked up in the icebox in the morgue. Bannister! Well, it never fails. Never. What's the trouble?
I'll tell you what's the trouble. It's these purchase orders. What do you think this is, the Mayo Clinic?
Well, we've got to have lab supplies.
Yeah, but look at these. I mean, what do we need Coombs serum for all of a sudden?
A blood sensitization test. It's elementary, basic.
It's what?
Dr. Coleman ordered it. He signed the requisition himself. You notice?
So he did. Well, don't stand there blinking and looking for trouble. I put Dr. Coleman in charge of serology myself this morning. It's quitting time. Go on, go wash your hands or something. You don't approve of the way we keep house here, Dr. Coleman.
I can't honestly say I do.
Lots of labs look spick and span, glitter and gleam. Only difference being we don't care about manicures and haircuts here. We judge a lab and a man by the practice of medicine. No time for the frills. Any other suggestions, Dr. Coleman?
Well, now that you ask, I do have one in particular.
As many as you like, Dr. Coleman.
One way of speeding up surgical reports.
Who's been talking to you about surgical reports?
Have you ever considered getting a tissue processing machine? It should save at least a day compared to the method of preparing the slides by hand.
Come in my office, Dr. Coleman. You see these? These are purchase requisitions for equipment dating back years. Every time I put a bunch of these through, I have a battle with the administrator. And he goes to the board and he has a battle with them. Then he comes back and he says we're spending too much money. You listen to me, Coleman. You're not here at my invitation, you understand? They pushed you down my gullet, and I'm choking on you, boy. My face is turning purple trying to swallow you, but I'm going to do it. Only let's get our policy straightened out here once and for all. You've got a job to do, and so have I. I am in charge of this department. We're going to do those jobs. We're not going to get our wires crossed every day because that interferes with our work. But I am still in charge here. You follow me?
I follow you.
Here are the purchase orders, Bannister. Put them through. All of them? What?
The requisition for Coombs serum.
Oh, I forgot all about that. We've been getting along with 2 tests for blood sensitization for years now. We don't need it.
Good night, Dr. Pearson.
See you in the morning.
Dr. Coleman. I thought I recognized you, Dr. Coleman. I wanted to apologize for the way I acted today. My wife and I have
no need for apologies. Matter of fact, you were right. The Coombs serum's been ordered. Your wife's tests will be made in all 3 meetings.
Thank you, Doctor. No idea of the relief. Thank you very much.
Turn your ankle.
Hello.
What's the trouble?
Oh, nothing. Nothing much. My knee just
Come
sort
on,
of
sit over here. Come on.
Thank you.
Now, let's take a look at it, huh?
Don't be silly.
Don't you be silly. I'm a doctor. Where's the pain?
Oh, it's about here. Dr. Coleman, please, people are watching.
How did you know my name?
Well, it wasn't very hard. I just asked who's the new ghoul in pathology.
Miss
Hunt. Catherine.
Miss Hunt. You're a phony.
Oh, really?
There's nothing the matter with your knee, Miss Hunt.
You think... Well, of all the conceited, egotistical things I have ever heard.
Make up your mind, mister.
How much?
For you, 15 cents.
No apologies, please.
I was apologizing. Where are you going?
I have exactly 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm going to spend them with Marlon Brando.
Oh, Marlon Brando. Oh, well, you wouldn't, like, rather have dinner, would you? Like, in a restaurant? With, wine? There ought to be a good Italian restaurant in town.
With wine? And dancing?
If absolutely necessary.
I know just the place.
You sure you can dance with that bad knee?
Oh, I know I can. I'm a phony, you remember?
Ah, but we've only got 3 more years of jelly glasses, honey. Won't be long. As soon as my internship's over, the best. Nothing but. It's over? And crystal? Come on, get that look off your face.
I hate to hear you talk that way.
All right, I'll stop talking. Juicy.
I never heard my father discuss money once. Not once.
Oh, honey, your father was one of a dying breed. He was an old-fashioned practitioner in a small town.
We always used jelly glasses except when company came. Nobody minded.
Well, I mind. You're gonna have the best. So is she. She is a strong little thumper, isn't she? You know, there's only one way to get the best, and that's to specialize. And the only place a man can specialize is in a big town.
Papa only quoted one thing from the Bible ever. I can't even remember it exactly. Something about a man finding himself by losing himself.
Look, I don't know anything at all about the Bible, but, honey, your father, he died owning nothing.
He was rich. The richest man you'll ever know. Everybody in that county loved him. His funeral, there were so many cars.
Look, I loved him, too, but it's different today, that's all.
Yes, there's not a single doctor in New Richmond.
You really would like it, wouldn't you, if I went back to New Richmond and opened up a little office?
Shut up, will you please?
Medicine's all a business.
Oh, will you please shut up before Papa turns over in his grave? Alex. I love you. I'll always love you, no matter what you decide. We'll have our baby, and no matter how big or important or rich we are, we'll have us.
You know, I wish, for your sake, I wish this thing were all over. Whoever invented this 9-month thing, anyway?
It's not so bad. You know, I went through it all once before. I don't care how bad it is or how hard. Just so it doesn't end the same way.
Can't.
You know, just to get away for a little while sometimes from all the pain and sickness, all the blood and fear in their eyes. It all gets to be too much sometimes, and you begin to wonder never said anything like this to anyone before.
You sorry you did?
No. That's what makes it all the more confusing.
Kathy, there isn't anyone in medicine who hasn't felt the way you do, one time or another.
But I've felt it more and more lately. And I don't know why I'm talking about it now when I feel so fine. I really feel so delicious. I am so glad I thought of my plot to get a date out of you. But you know, if I were as honest as you are, I'd have to tell you that I really, honestly despise the strong, silent type who just listen. So let's talk about you for a while. What made you decide to be a ghoul?
Well, pathology seemed the best way to contribute to the war.
The war?
Medicine's a war, a creative, constructive war. Not many of us can be heroes like Pasteur or Fleming or Salk. But sometimes there's a spectacular advance, as in a war, and doctors rush to the new front, leaving lots of pockets of knowledge behind to be filled in.
I never heard anyone talk about it like that before. You make me feel like a trivial little idiot. I was wrong about you. You really are a good dancer. That Dr. Pearson, you know what he advised me this morning? He said the one way to get rid of the taste of death was by living. And he was so right. I'm 2 whole minutes early. Thank you for a lovely dinner.
You don't have to pay any debts, Kathy.
Holy. The man's not even human. He's human. Why didn't you think of this earlier? Good night.
Yes, Doctor, we will send it up just as soon as we get the report. Everybody wants everything day before yesterday.
Morning, Bannister. What the devil's been going on around?
Don't look at me.
Can't even recognize the place.
Worse than that, you can't find anything.
Ah, that's more like it.
Mr. Bannister.
Dr. Alexander, I just told Dr. Dornberger the blood samples only got down here
Well,
last
I thought
evening.
maybe
at
I
quitting
could give you a
time.
hand.
What's all this?
It's about my wife's blood test, Doctor. You see, we have a possible RH factor involved.
So you thought you'd come barging in down here and we'd show you a special favor, then? It happens we don't operate that way in this department, Dr.
Alexander.
You'll get the results in due time. And through Charlie Dornberger. Alexander.
Yes, sir.
Call me in half an hour. We'll have the result for you.
Thank you, Dr. Pearson. Thanks a lot.
Good morning.
Doctor.
Good morning, Bannister.
Morning, Dr. Coleman. Some days just confuse me.
Lungs, fibrous, multiple nodules, TB healed. Peptic ulcer lies just below the pyloric ring. Big gaping vessel in its base. Surprising thing about the human body is not what finally kills us, but what we can have wrong with us and still go on living. If this woman had gone to a doctor in time, a simple operation might have saved her life.
Oh, Bannister, you've got to supervise the histology section more closely. Your slides are thick enough to make a sandwich.
Dr. O'Donnell, surgery, please.
This place taken, nurse?
Not yet, but if you don't sit down, it will be.
Last night you mentioned...
Would you like to share some of this?
No, thanks.
Last night, I'm afraid I mentioned too many things.
Too many, not enough.
Aren't you hungry?
I'm starving. Will you listen to me for a second? I'm trying to find out how to get to know you better. I'm not good at small talk or flirting, things like that. What I'm saying is... How am I going to see more of you?
Do you ice skate?
Nope.
Good. Then I know just the place.
You two eating again?
I am. Dr. Coleman's on a diet.
Oh,
Dr.
yes.
Pearson, emergency.
Well, that seems to be the socially accepted form of suicide
Dr.
these days.
Pearson, Dr.
I'm
Pearson.
coming, I'm coming. Don't say I never took you to lunch, Coleman.
Well, I'm glad Dr. Pearson doesn't believe in diets.
Leave the report for the coroner on my desk. I'll sign it later.
Joe.
Accident case, dead on arrival. 5 years old. Ah, Charlie. Charlie, what's it all mean?
You want me to give you a philosophy of life in 10 words?
There is no philosophy, Charlie. It's none possible. It's all chance, accident. You never know what next. Life, death, for no reason.
Well, we're trying to take some of the accident out of it. Now, what about the Alexander girl?
Alexander?
RH factor. Her husband's interning for her.
Oh, Alexander. I did the test on that myself. Sensitivity negative. No problem there, Charlie.
Fine, fine. I'll tell the boy.
Oh, I already told him.
You? Well, the kid nagged me to death. What else could I do?
Joe. You need a haircut.
Did you break anything?
What did you have in mind?
You need one. I know a good doctor.
I bet you're the kind that goes into convulsions when you see old ladies slip on banana peels.
I'm sorry, but so dignified. Oh, if you wouldn't try and be so sadistic and so sure of yourself. Now just hold on, take it easy, and glide.
Glide. It's not my idea to be distant, Kathy, but we've seen each other every day for more than a week now. And we're never alone. There's always an audience.
Well, I didn't know you had anything to say to me in private.
I may look like a fool. In fact, I feel like a fool. But we're not teenagers, you know. Not them, but we're adults.
Oh? If you had a car,
I'll get one. I'll rent one.
I have Sunday afternoon off, too. There's some wonderful country I could show you.
Kathy, you hurt?
Just twisted my knee.
The way you did last week?
Oh, yes. I'm a phony, remember?
Very tender, isn't it? How long have you had this, Kathy?
Oh, a couple of... No, maybe a month. It's not serious, is it, Dr. Granger?
Oh, anything can be serious or not serious. I wouldn't be too concerned if I were you. But we'll want to know, won't we? I'll arrange an x-ray.
All right, Doctor.
All okay, Kathy?
Hold still now, please.
An acute appendicitis, just beginning. Dr. Rufus got it good and early. You want to see me?
Yes, in your office, please, Dr. Pearson.
Sounds serious. Sounds great.
Dr. Pearson, I've been running some routine checks on the hot water system.
Yeah, the water temperature isn't high enough.
Exactly. And if you... Has anyone tried to do anything about it?
You think things run pretty poorly around here, don't you?
Since you keep asking, yes, I do.
Yes, sir. Young and green, full of lofty ideas. I've been pleading for a new hot water system for years. It's too expensive a project. Anything else, Dr. Coleman?
No. I apologize.
Full of gumption and vinegar, aren't you, boy? I hear you've been laying down the law in the autopsy room, too.
You asked me to take charge of it?
No smoking, I understand. Is that supposed to include me?
The sign reads, no smoking.
Are you laying down the law to me, boy?
As I understand it, a hospital is supposed to be run for the welfare of its patients. Rules are set up for all. There can be no law at all, here or anywhere, if there are privileged exceptions.
Shut full of fancy ideas, aren't you? All ideals, no blood. You've been here a week and you got Bannister so upset he's ready to quit.
It might be safer if he did. 3 days ago, I told the technicians that I plan to make occasional spot checks on lab work. Yesterday, I divided a blood sample so that 2 tests would be run on it.
Tricks.
Standard laboratory procedure. Bannister reached 2 different results on the same sample.
Everybody makes mistakes.
There's no room for mistakes in medicine. And when it comes to surgeons, you yourself are the first...
Oh, you've got yours coming, boy. Believe me, I've seen your kind before, you bloodless wonders. Everything spick and span, so sure of yourself. You'll learn you're not perfect one of these days, boy. It'll be quite a shock. I hope I'll be around to see it, that's all. And I will be around because, listen, boy, I'm here to stay. You just keep shoving and pushing, but I'm here to stay, and don't forget it. If you don't like the way things are run here, you're free to move on, boy. Just move on.
I'm not moving.
I'm staying, too. Don't forget that. Ever. This is my home, you understand? I've told you this before. I'm in charge here. You keep that fact straight. And I want no lab checks without my authority. lab check is routine.
I decide what's routine here. Pathology, Pearson. Are you sure it's necessary, Lucy? All right, Lucy, I'll be right up.
Here's Dr. Pearson. Joe, this is Kathy Hunt.
Well, we met in a sort of informal way. Every time I see the young lady, she's eating. Sure she doesn't have gout. Ah. You hit your knee in the bottom of a swimming pool some time ago, didn't you? Let me see both knees, please. Yeah. There was water in the pool, I presume. Enjoy swimming, do you?
Dr. Pearson? Dr. Pearson, what do you think?
I try not to think, Kathy. Any more than is absolutely necessary. X-rays?
There's 2 sets. The first didn't show anything. And Dr. Bell corrected them to show the soft tissue. And he confirms the irregularity in the bone.
Kathy, you know what a biopsy is, don't you?
Usually it's to see if there's cancer.
Well, not always. Dr. Grange will take a small piece of tissue from your knee. Won't even have to go to sleep. It's so simple. And she'll send it down to me, and I'll study it under a microscope.
You wouldn't find anything, Dr. Pearson. I felt too well. And my knee only hurts once in a while. Of course, if anyone punches
Now,
at
you're
it...
an intelligent young woman, and surely you want to know.
I told you I already do know.
Kathy, it could be a result of the swimming pool accident, in which case there's nothing to worry about. Or it could be a bone tumor. And even if it is, there's every likelihood that it's benign.
Not cancer, you mean?
Not malignant, yes. But we do have to know.
And if it is malignant?
Let me examine it first. And then we...
I know. I know you'd have to amputate. Wouldn't you, Dr. Granger? Well, that's why I won't let you do a biopsy. Because even if it is malignant, I'd rather anything than lose my leg. Dr. Pearson?
Yes, John?
You won't mention this to anyone, will you?
Kathy, I think you should talk this over with, well, anyone who can make you realize...
Promise me, Dr. Pearson. If you'll promise, then I will think it over. By myself. And tell Dr. Granger on Monday.
Monday's day after tomorrow. Time is important.
I'll think it over. I really will, if you'll promise.
All right, I won't mention it to anyone we know. Now, you use your head.
I'll talk with her some more, Joe. She has no family, and she's of legal age. I'll try to make her see the foolishness of any delay.
I'm no good at this, Lucy. No good.
And you're suffering more than she is right now. That's why I love you, Joe. That's why we all do.
We can't waste any time. The kid's got no time to waste. You get that tissue sample down to me Monday morning, first thing, you hear? Not a minute later. It ought to be done tonight.
Sunday Vespers. I remember when I was a child in a very small town, I'm glad I'm not still a child.
So am I.
You don't care anything about nature, do you? You haven't even looked. Isn't it lovely?
Lovely is the word.
Sometimes everything seems so unbelievable. So beautiful. I'm sorry. I guess it must have been the smell of fresh air after all that ether. Well, I told you we'd get away from people, didn't I? Now you're stuck with me. Is this far enough away, David?
Well, it's a step in the right direction. What's the matter, Kathy?
Sorry, David, I'm sorry. It's not you, it's me. Trying to pretend that everything can go on as if... David, I don't want to know what might have been.
Kathy, what is it?
Take me back to town, David. Take me back, please. Please.
All right, Kathy.
Dr. Dornberger may have said to walk, but there's such a thing as taking his advice too seriously.
Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Elizabeth.
My name's Elizabeth, too.
Oh.
Take it easy.
Alex, it's too soon. He can't be.
You stay right here. I'm gonna get a taxi. I'm gonna take you to the hospital.
I don't want
to.
to.
Just in case. Stay here.
Emergency just telephoned, Doctor. The patient's arrived. They say she's well advanced.
Uh-huh. This is a preemie, you know. The incubator ready?
Yes, it's on its way, Doctor.
Uh-huh.
I can't believe he's so small.
He wasn't ready for this world yet. That extra 6 weeks would have made a lot of difference. We'll keep an eye on him. You understand, his lungs are not fully developed.
You're saying he hasn't much of a chance, aren't you?
No. What I'm saying is that you never can tell. Some babies have that will to live. They fight for life. But
But other babies, like some people, they just don't. You understand?
Thank you, Doctor.
Going up?
No. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Pearson, without disturbing her, please get word to Dr. Granger that I'm here, please. Yeah, and I'll wait till I hear from her.
Feeling a bit drowsy, Kathy?
Hmm?
This won't take long and you won't feel a thing. Night, please.
Just stay relaxed, Miss Hunt. This is just like having a tooth out.
I've always hated dentists.
How are you, Kathy?
I don't feel a thing.
Good girl. Now we'll take a wedge-shaped sample of bone. Something between 2 and 3 centimeters should be enough.
Ah, you made it in a hurry. Sorry to drag you out this time of night.
Something important.
Well, biopsy. I prepared the slides myself. I couldn't locate Bannister. He's probably out somewhere pretending to be young. It's a hairline case, as difficult as they come. The surgeon suspects osteogenic sarcoma.
What's the rush? Somebody's relative?
No, it's not. Nobody's relative, just a patient. All right, maybe we should work this fast on every case.
It's not an easy one. Good deal of new bone formation. Osteoblastic activity with bands of fibrous tissue in between.
Of course, the new bone formation could be the result of regeneration after a fracture.
If so, the man's in luck.
I see no evidence of infection.
No. No inflammatory cells in the bone spaces. Did you see any evidence of blood vessel invasion?
No, none.
Then it goes back to the new bone formation.
Blast these borderline cases. The man could only look in there and some sort of pattern would fall into absolute place.
You have the x-rays?
Oh. Shadows from Shadowland. Radiology says it's up to us. Is this new bone forming because it's a neoplasm?
Or is the bone proliferating as a natural process in response to an injury?
Yeah, malignant and benign. Benign and malignant. Who wants power like this?
If this tumor is malignant, the sooner the surgeon amputates...
Yes, damn it. And if we say it's malignant and we're wrong, the patient loses a leg for nothing.
But if it is actually malignant, and there is no operation...
Who wants to play God?
I had a professor who always warned us the best we could give in cases like these is an educated guess.
And what's your educated guess here?
I think it's benign. What's your opinion?
I think it's malignant.
What about studying some past cases?
Oh, it'll take a week to dig them out.
Dig them out? What about the cross file?
We don't have a cross file. Something I've been meaning to set up for years. All right, we should have a cross file. We don't. It's my fault.
Is this a scientific disagreement?
Lucy. No, we always confer this way in my department. You met Dr. Coleman.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, it's one of those nights, isn't it? I went home, got to bed, realized I couldn't sleep, so here I am. With apologies.
Lucy, we don't know. That's what it comes down to. All these years in medicine, and we don't know.
Dr. Pearson says malignant. There's room for doubt, but I think the tumor's benign.
I wouldn't want to amputate if there was any shadow of doubt. Still, I'm worried about the patient herself. Now, ordinarily, I'd have waited till morning to perform that biopsy, but she refused permission till tonight, so I had to take advantage of that. Now, I just don't see how I dare tell Kathy there's any doubt one way or the other.
I think I have a solution of sorts, Lucy. There are two men who are experts in this kind of
What's
problem.
the patient's full name, Dr. Granger?
Oh, she's one of our student nurses. You may know her, Dr. Coleman. Kathy Hunt.
Yes, I know her.
Dr. Coleman, you've heard of Dr. Collingham in Boston, Dr. Earnhardt in New York. We'll make up 2 complete sets of slides, get them off airmail special delivery and the next mail out of town. And I'll wire both doctors saying it's urgent and ask them to telegraph their findings as quickly as possible.
That'll take time.
2 days at the most.
Every minute counts. If you're right, every second counts.
Anything I can do, Joe.
Can you type?
How do you think I worked my way through college?
Kathy? Kathy, I was blind. I would have realized if I hadn't been thinking of myself. Why didn't you tell me?
Why should I? You're not involved.
Sleeping.
I can't. Not until I know what's going to happen. Dr. Granger promised to let me know in a few hours.
Dr. Granger won't know in a few hours.
What do you mean? She promised. She said
she won't know for 2 days.
I don't understand.
Well, you see, we can't always know for sure. And Dr. Pearson thinks we should get a few more opinions before we... Kathy, I feel sure the tissue is benign.
Dr. Pearson? What does Dr. Pearson think?
He doesn't agree.
I see. Well, I don't care what anyone thinks. And I don't care about medical opinions. All I know is they're not going to take off my leg. I won't let them.
You have no right to make a decision like that.
Why not? I can decide how I want to live. Or how long. Or whether. Parents are dead. It makes no difference to anyone but me.
That's not true. That's no longer true, that's all.
Please, you don't need to.
I do need to. I don't understand it yet, but I do need to.
You're... No. You're only making everything more complicated. More confusing.
Let's get to the post office. Night like this makes man think about time, doesn't it? How much we got and how much we think we got. Even if Lucy amputates, there's no guarantee the girl will live more than a year or 2, 5. Or maybe till she's as old as I feel tonight. Who knows? Who ever knows? Who has any guarantee of time? Either one of us might slip in the shower tonight.
Somebody might drop a bomb accidentally. Or otherwise. Or a surgeon makes a simple single slip during a routine operation. It happens. It happens. Yet we go along all the time thinking we got forever. Not knowing what we have while we have it. Not knowing until we don't have it any longer. That won't be a second.
I'm sorry, I should have done that.
Why so? Think I'll catch pneumonia? Well, think of it this way. If I gave up the ghost tomorrow, there's nobody in the world to give a solid damn. Whereas if you were to die, well, where the hell would that girl be, eh?
How long do you think we'll have to wait for the answers?
Well, I'll phone Collingham and Earnhardt tomorrow morning. Hurry him up, maybe. Now, you look like a fellow who could do with a drink. I'm not proposing we tie one on, you understand? But once in a great while, a mild anesthesia is clearly indicated. That's not a prescription, Dr. Coleman. That's an order.
Dornberger, what is it?
Oh, I don't think it's anything, but I want to double check.
You suspect erythroblastosis, don't you?
The symptoms are there, yes.
Well, why didn't you do an exchange transfusion at birth?
Well, Dr. Alexander, if the lab report on your wife's blood test had been positive, we would have exchanged the baby's blood at birth. The lab report was negative. An exchange transfusion was not necessary.
Reprieve.
Dr.
Pearson, about my wife's blood
Dr.
test.
Alexander.
What's this? The delegation? We'll go on with this later. Oh, Charlie?
Joe, we just came from the Alexander baby. You know, if it wasn't for your lab report, I'd suspect that child's got erythroblastosis.
Couldn't be, Charlie. I remember you, young fella. Another young fire eater. Kicked up such a storm around here that I did both the tests myself.
Both tests. Dr. Coleman, didn't you agree that in order to have an accurate blood sensitization test, 3 tests were required?
That's right. That's why I ordered the Coombs serum. I'll check with Bannister.
Never mind. The indirect Coombs was not done. On my order.
Well, do I understand you correctly? You mean Mrs. Alexander may have sensitized blood after all? Does this mean that the baby might have erythroblastosis?
Could mean that. Bannister, we want a bilirubin and retics run on the Alexander baby at once. Also, is there any Coombs serum in the hospital?
No, sir.
All right, where do we get it then? How
No
fast?
time for that. We'll have to have the test done somewhere else where they facilities. University Hospital has a full lab. Get me University Hospital, please, and hurry. Also, Bannister, we'll need a blood sample.
Right away.
Dr. Fraz, this is Dr. Coleman, assistant pathologist, 3 counties. Could you handle an emergency Coombs test for us? We'll get the sample to you right away. Thank you.
I'm not on duty. I'd like to take the sample myself.
Get it from Bannister. Take it to the emergency entrance.
Could you get me the police department right away?
May not be too late for an exchange transfusion, Joe.
This is Dr. Dornberger. We'd like a police car to deliver an urgent blood sample. Dr. Alexander will be waiting at the emergency entrance.
Exchange transfusion should have been done at birth. If it's not too late, no credit to me.
Joe, to the best of my knowledge, I've never failed a patient through inadequacy or neglect. You made me part of your failure now. You know, we've been friends for a long time, Joe. I've covered for you. I've helped you fight your battles upstairs. But this time, if this baby dies,
So help me God, I'm going to take you before the medical board, and I'm going to break you in two. Listen to me, son. Listen. Don't give up. It's worth living. It's worth it. Don't give up. This is your father, and I love you. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Dr. Pearson? What? Oh, thank you. Connect me with Dr. Granger, please.
Said you wanted.
I'm sorry, boy. Lucy, I couldn't tell you on the phone.
No, Joe?
These are the two best men in the country.
Are they definite?
Oh, yes. Both of them very definite. Dr. Collingham of Boston says specimen definitely malignant. Dr. Earnhardt, New York, says the tissue is benign, no sign of malignancy. Right back where we started.
No, we're not. We lost time.
It's a decision for pathology.
Don't
Joe.
tell me whose decision it is. You think I don't know? I'm sorry, Lucy.
All our training. All theirs. We know nothing.
That's not true. We don't know everything, but we know a lot. And more every year.
Joe?
Yeah, I know.
Dr. Coleman, on Sunday night, you said that in your opinion, the tumor was benign. Do you have any reason to change your mind?
No, I have no reason to change my mind.
Dr. Coleman, you're in no position to make an objective decision. Lucy.
Yes, Joe?
Dr. Coleman is the assistant in this department. The final decision's up to me.
All right, Joe. Whatever you say.
It's a malignant growth. Osteogenic sarcoma.
That's definite?
Quite definite.
That makes it difficult. I'm not sure I can convince the girl to allow the operation.
Allow? Well, she has to allow. Doesn't she realize?
That part of it is up to me.
This is a tough one, Joe.
They're all tough. The older I get, the tougher.
I know.
Kathy, whether you want to or not, you're going to listen to me.
I don't want to listen, David. I just want you to take me away. I mean it. Just the two of us now.
I can't do that.
If you love me, take me out of here. Don't let them come near me, please.
No deal, Kathy. I love you, but no deal.
I won't let them do it to me.
Now, listen. You don't want to die, do you?
I'm going to die anyway.
We're all going to die someday.
But soon. Soon if it spreads. Can you tell me it hasn't spread? Can you?
No.
Can you tell me how long then, even if I do let them?
Nobody has any guarantee of time, damn it. Any one of us can get killed tomorrow, the next day, crossing the street.
Well, then what difference? What difference?
That's the difference. You're alive now, and that's all you've got. All any of us can be sure of. We can't be sure of anything else, nothing. Only that we're alive now, alive and breathing. And we'd better hang on to it. Hang on as long as we can, with whatever means we can. Hang on and live. That's why this whole hospital exists. That's what we're doing here. Keeping people alive, because we believe in life. Believe it's good to be alive. Good. That's what any poor human being has. That's all he has. And it's good.
All right, David. All right. Only afterwards, when it's over, come back in here. Do you understand? Come back in here. No, hurry. Tell him to hurry, please. I want to sleep.
Dr. Pearson, this is Alexander. The blood test is positive.
Thank you. You hurry back here. Get me Dr. Dornberger. He's on the operating floor. Quickly. Charlie, the Alexander baby has erythroblastosis.
The reticulocyte count is high, but we haven't got the bilirubin yet.
Never mind that now. Is the blood warm?
Yes, doctor.
The hot water bottle's in the proper position?
On the table.
It's important in these exchange transfusions that the blood be close to body temperature, otherwise there's danger of shock. I'll need a 10 cc syringe of calcium gluconate. Temperature?
96.
All right, we're ready to start. I'm cutting off the dry portion of the umbilical cord down to moist tissue. Hemostat. 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 We've isolated the umbilical vein. We'll go to it and remove the blood clot. Venous pressure.
$60 millimeters.
Very well. We'll start drawing off the blood.
You want me to send the secretary in for that, Dr. Pearson?
Oh, no thanks, Bannister.
Any word yet on the baby?
Not yet. Lucy Granger. They've taken the Hunt girl back to her room from surgery. Thanks.
What about the Alexander baby?
Not a word.
Venous pressure?
$67 millimeters.
We'll take just a little more. 10 cc's out. cc's in.
Respiration's up to 60. Rather shallow. Breathing is very irregular now.
How far away?
50 cc's out, 60 cc's in.
We'll carry on. Yeah.
Skin feels cold, Doctor, and I can't count the respirations.
Let's replace that now.
He's not breathing well.
Check the pulse. Set the oxygen at 3 liters.
Pulse is very weak. Rate is over 180. Respiration's failing. He stopped breathing.
The heart?
Very faint.
Adrenaline. Get the endotracheal tube in. Adrenaline, Doctor? Straight into the heart.
But my wife, what a temper. She still says the bill's too high. She blows her top. Whew. I try to tell her he's a specialist, this doc. After all, doctoring's a business, ain't it? Just like any other. What kind of doctoring you going into?
A general practice. In my hometown, there's no doctor there now.
You're not gonna get rich that way, pal.
No, I'm not going to get rich.
the oxygen over the tube.
He's breathing on his own now. Pulse is stronger. I get it at 140.
We'll go on with the transfusion.
Thanks, Bannister. Pathology, Dr. Coleman.
Dr. Dornberger, tell Joe that the Alexander baby survived the transfusion. The prognosis is good.
Thank you, Dr. Dornberger. The Alexander baby, he's going to live.
No thanks to me.
You're not resigning.
You forgetting who's in charge around here? Why am I not resigning? Because they won't ask me to now?
You're needed here.
Not anymore. Look, boy, don't change on me. You got sharp eyes and sharp mind. We both knew the minute you walked in here this day was coming.
I never intended this.
Of course you didn't. I've been trying to figure out what I had against you. Other than your confounded personality, of course. I used to think I was scared of this day coming. That wasn't it. You made me feel guilty. Like a failure.
I didn't mean...
Shut up and listen. You might learn something. You made me feel like a failure because what you reminded me of was myself 30 years ago. Cocksure and full of vinegar, nothing too good for medicine. No room for error, negligence, or age. And I was right then, and you are right now. We both know that now, don't we? Don't we?
Maybe I'm not up to it yet.
Don't waste time being humble. You're good. It won't be easy, though. The phone will ring. Budgets, fights over budgets, committees, meetings. Trouble in the lab to be smoothed over. The doctors coming in and out asking for this and that. And the salesman with the unbreakable test tubes. Another and another. At the end of the day, you'll ask what happened to it. All the fine things you set out to achieve. Research, study. At the end of the year, all the other years. Listen to me, boy. Don't let it happen to you. This is the advice of the best friends you'll ever have. Now listen. Don't let it happen to you. Get away from the phone, the files, and the paperwork, and keep yourself up to date. Lock yourself in a closet if you have to. But do it. Do it. You follow me?
Yes, sir, I follow you.
Oh, boy.
Yes?
That girl. Up there by herself. She'll be waking up soon.
She doesn't want to see me.
Why? Afraid you'll pity her. Well, she's lying. Women don't even know when they're lying sometimes. They gotta do it to keep idiots like you and me from understanding. She knows as well as you do that compassion's a part of love. She's not worried about herself, or how she's loved, or why. She's worried about you. She's gonna be a cripple the rest of her life. She's trying to spare you. Listen, all she's thinking of is you, and all you're thinking of is her, right? You tell me, boy. What's love if it isn't thinking about somebody else more than yourself?
But I can't get through to her.
You be there when she wakes up. You just be there. That'll get through to her.
Joe?
Huh?
I just examined the tissue. You were right. It was definitely malignant. Dr. Granger hadn't operated, she wouldn't have lived 6 months.
Thanks, David. What are you doing standing around here? Look, son, you don't have forever, you know. You just think you do because you're young.
Thank you, Joe.
Dr. Granger.
It's me, Kathy. And I'm staying.